Hey y'all, Ryan with TrendLizard.com here. John, thanks for sending me the email asking for analysis on 3 different tickers. For those of you who aren't sure what you're looking at here, subscribers at TrendLizard.com send me 3 stocks, ETFs, whatever, each month, and I analyze them using the Ellliott wave theory. The Ellliott wave theory helps us forecast the direction of anything that can be plotted on a price chart as long as it's good representation of social mood, of enough people. Kind of a herd mentality of enough people moving in one direction, and that's what we're doing. So John sent me 3 stocks. MJ, Alternative Harvest ETF, basically the pot stock ETF, one of a few that's out there. AI, which is C3.AI, an artificial intelligence company. And then SWN, which is Southwest Energy, obviously an energy company. So we're going to run through all of them. We're going to start with MJ here. That's what you're looking at on this chart. It was incepted back in late 2015. Had a slow start, actually found its footing in early 2016 and then kicked off to the upside. Set its all-time high in 2018. Since then, it pulled back a pretty good downtrend into the 2020 low. Like everything else, found a low in 2020 in March of 2020 and shot off to the upside there. So there are things to like about this guy, despite largely kind of a net sideways move since its inception. I mean, it was incepted back at around 19. It's trading around 20. For its lifespan, it's gone sideways, but there are some good things to like here, despite the fact that the biggest move it's ever experienced is a move from 40 down to below 10. The first thing that I like is the fact that this down move looks like a 3-wave move. That suggests that it's a counter trend move, that this is not the trend, that this is a counter trend move going against the dominant trend would suggest that the overall trend is up. The second thing I like is that this recovery off the 2020 low retraced more than 61.8% of this down leg. So the things that we're seeing suggest that overall the trend is up. So the key for us then is basically just taking a look at what's happened off the 2020 low to determine if this is a trendy move and if higher prices can be expected. So let's go ahead and zoom in and focus on this price action off the 2020 low. Here it is. It does look like a trendy move. Overall, it's a 3-wave move so far, but it looks like it's a 5-wave move in progress. And basic Ellliott wave stuff, obviously, 5-wave moves dictate the direction of the trend. 3-wave moves dictate counter-trend price action. So if we can find 5-wave price movement in either direction, we know that's the direction of the trend on that time frame. If we find 3-wave moves, we know that that's a counter-trend move and it's going against the dominant trend. So in this case, it's not confirmed, but we can make a case that we're getting 5-wave moves to the upside, 3-wave pullbacks to the downside, another 5-wave move to the upside, and then this move here that does look like a counter trend move, hopefully with the intent of forming a larger 5-wave advance overall off that 2020 low. So if you own it, here's kind of what I'm thinking here. I wouldn't want to see it move a ton lower than March's low. It does look like the pullback that's been playing out in 2021 is a counter trend move, but I wouldn't want to see it move much lower from here because then suddenly you have to worry about the possibility that this is not the start of a 5-wave move and is instead a 3-wave move. So I wouldn't want to see it move much below 19 to the downside. That represents a 61.8% retracement of this big up leg here to the upside off of, I guess, September's low into the 2021 high. So that's what we're looking at. If we zoom in, let's take a little bit closer look at this price in action here, the pullback in 2021. You have what looks like a 3-wave move. It's possible that this 3-wave move completed and you're getting the start of a 5-wave advance here for wave 5. We can see a little bit of trendy price action off of April's low, but since then it's pulled back. It's pulled back a little bit today. It's tested 2050. I wouldn't want to see it move much below 2050. If it does, it means that this pullback that started back in February is not over. And so that would open up the door for more weakness and the potential for a move below 19. So if it moves below 19, caution would be advised. If you own it, I would get out. As long as it stays above 19, you can continue to own it. If you do not own it, I would consider waiting for a larger recovery. Now, the best level to wait for, although it's too far away, is 29, because you get a move above 29, it confirms that this is a counter trend move and that the next trendy up leg has begun. But more realistically, you're just looking for some real purposeful strength to the upside here that you can buy into if you get it. If you do get that type of purposeful upside price action, then you can use that as a buying opportunity and kind of trail a stop from there. Just make sure that this up leg is never retraced by more than 61.8% as it goes. So we're bullish on it. It's a little bit touch and go now. It needs to stay above 19 to remain bullish. And if it can really show some strength to the upside, then it would look like a decent buying opportunity. So there is MJ. Let's move on to AI. Again, it's C3.AI, an artificial intelligence company. That's about all I know about it other than what we can find on the price chart here. It is a short timer. It was incepted in December, just a handful of months ago, and it has kind of spent most of its life moving lower. And there's nothing here that I like. I would not own this guy personally. I'll show you why. You have an up move off to start. It went from 90 to 180. This probably got a lot of people pretty excited. Since then, it's gone from 180 to 60. It's trading at 58 today. I think it's trading at a new all-time low today. Generally speaking, I'm not buying all-time lows. Some people say, hey, that's value. For me, I need to see a reason to think that the trend is about to turn up or is up or something like that. I'm not trying to find some low in a substantial downtrend that represents a good buying opportunity. Maybe it is, but from an Ellliott wave perspective, you're just guessing, and that's not what we're doing here. We're looking for clues that we are starting new uptrends, and there are no clues here. So what we can see is the down leg off of February's high looks like a trendy 5-wave move. So that kind of dictates the direction of the trend being down. Then you see this choppy action that's happened since then. This looks like counter-trend price movement. This is nothing other than a setup for lower levels, and that seems to be what's happening today as it broke down to a new low. So best case scenario for AI, and I'll change action on the chart here, is that this was a first, second, third, fourth, and it's starting a 5th wave down now. So when you have a 5-wave move complete, even though that dictates that the trend is down, what happens upon the completion of a 5-wave move is you get a counter trend recovery to the upside. So you would get an opportunity, a bounce, could be tradable. I personally don't want to trade counter trend moves. I mean, those are less predictable moves. Sometimes they just go sideways like what you're seeing here. Like you had this 5-wave move complete to the downside into March's low. And you did get a bounce, but it was sideways. I mean, good luck making money on that. Maybe it's a sharper recovery and you get something that actually retraces a Fibonacci portion of this down leg here, but who knows? So all I'm saying is I wouldn't touch it, but the best case scenario, if you own it, is that it's in the final wave of a larger 5-wave decline and getting ready to give you a larger counter trend recovery. That's the best case, but generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't own it. I wouldn't buy it. If you did own it, I wouldn't. I would get out of it. So that's our take there. Let's go ahead and move on to SWN. This is Southwest Energy. This guy has quite the up-down history. As you can see, it was incepted back in late 1987. Largely trades sideways. I mean, it probably didn't feel that way if you owned it. This is just a linear scale, so it looks pretty flat. But then you had this huge up move basically starting in 2004 up to 5250, some choppy action, and then it's given largely all of that back. It's had a pretty respectable recovery. It doesn't look like it on a long-term time frame, but a pretty decent recovery off the 2020 low. That's what we're really going to focus on. What we do see, probably the most clear thing about this entire chart, is the decline that's happened in 2014 and on. Looks like a 5-wave decline to the downside. So the possibility that an important low is in does exist. Let's go ahead and zoom in, or excuse me, let's actually add a little bit to this chart here. Here's the possibility that we had an A wave down, a B wave recovery, and that clean 5-wave decline is a large C wave decline. This is the best case scenario for SWN, that it completed a massive counter trend pullback in 2020 and is forming the base for a much larger recovery from there. So what we're going to do, we'll zoom in, take a little bit different look at things here. Here's a different look at that down leg that's played out. Again, it does look like a 5-wave move to the downside. We can make a case that it's over, and what we're seeing off the 2020 low is a very constructive potential low. Could be a major low off of that 2020 low. So this is our focus here. We know that it's been in a large downtrend for a long time, so the question is, did a major low occur? And we're starting to see some constructive price action to the upside where you can bet on that possibility. You can put a bet down on the possibility that a low did occur in 2020, and this is the start of a much larger advance. If we zoom in and focus just on that advance off the 2020 low, we can see that we're starting to see trendy price action to the upside, a 5-wave advance here, and counter trend action to the downside, a 3-wave pullback here. Now the recovery off of October's low is choppy, very hard to label, but we don't need to at this time. Things will shake themselves out as they go, but what we do see is constructive price movement to the upside and the potential that a major low has been recorded. So if you own this guy, you can own it as long as it's trading above 320. If it moves below 320 at any point, what you're going to see is this entire advance off the 2020 low turn into a 3-wave move. That's obviously not what we want. We want to be trading in the direction of 5-wave patterns. So as long as it stays above 320, this recovery off the 2020 low is going to have the potential to turn into a 5-wave move. If it moves below 320 at any point, it no longer would have that potential. It would be left as a 3-wave move. That would be the exit point. So I think it's a good trade. I think you can continue to own it despite the choppy, kind of funky nature of more recent price action. This has happened on a lot of places, not least of which is the S&P 500. Things have become more choppy. But hey, the burden of proof is on the sellers at this point. You've had a nice trendy up move and a counter trend down move. That shifts things in favor of the long side. So as long as this is constructive and hasn't done anything wrong, you have to remain bullish. The only thing it could do that would be wrong or to damage this pattern again is a move below 320. So we are bullish on Southwest Energy against 320, and we see the potential that this is the start of a much larger advance to the upside. Obviously, that is going to shift as things go on, or it's going to develop further, and we'll have a better idea of the full scope of where this is headed. But right now, it's absolutely worth owning because it has the potential to mark a very important low and to be the start of a much larger advance. So, John, I hope that's helpful. Again, Ryan with TrendLizard.com. Thanks for being a member. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.